Kingbrown again. The other day I made a video about Furphies and the value of Furphies and why they're so expensive. Much to a lot of people's surprise. During that video I mentioned that Furphy actually farmed out the making of their camp ovens to other foundries a couple of times in the period of the making of the Furphy ovens. The first foundry they farmed it out to was actually is still in operation. Actually, this foundry. They're in Victoria and their name is the Billman's Foundry. Now the Billman's Foundry still making camp ovens today, their own brand. You can get them customised and have your name put on the lid, stuff like that, so it's pretty cool. They make a range, I think, from about a 10 inch. I know they go up to an 18 inch is the biggest one they make. 18 inches is a big oven, and these ones are very big. Like they're a heavy solid oven. I think they could be 30 kilos, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they're somewhere up around that mark. But if you're looking for an old school style of oven, well, that's one way you can still get one is through the Billman's Foundry. When they made I think they made the ovens for Furphy, there were a few years just before the year 2000, so the late 90s, I believe is when they did a run of them. And after that, Furphy sent the making of their camp ovens over to China. And we had a lot of Asian ovens come in. In fact, they made ovens in China with Furphy and Shepparton written on them up until about the year 2014, I think it was. So that's 14 years, from 2000 to 2014. There was a lot of Furphy ovens coming in from China. Are these Chinese ovens as valuable to a collector? No, not really. In fact, 90% of collectors probably don't own one and have no intention of ever owning one. I actually own one, and just out of curiosity I got myself one here. It's a little 10-inch one, and it's bloody heavy, I can tell you, like for a little oven. Not worrying about that, but let's have a bit of a closer look at that oven anyway. This Chinese oven, it's pretty obviously it just comes from Asia. You can tell straight away by the teardrop on the lid, and it's very fat at one end and very small at the other end, and as you know, that's a clear sign that it was Asian made. So that's the lid out. And another interesting thing about the lids is how they put the lettering. Down here it says Shepparton, and then there's this, where is it? No, that's up here, Furphy. It says Furphy, and then the size 10, but it's all been put in as one word. So it's Furphy 10, 10, without a gap. Now if that was done in Australia, as you know, it would be Furphy gap 10. We wouldn't put it as one thing, but over there in China that's how they do that apparently. So that's another way of looking if it's got that. Otherwise you look at, I mean, the lid's very obvious, it's to be Asian. On the base itself, now I mentioned how the ears that were on the 15-inch Furphy the other day in the other video, how they were just chunks of metal with holes drilled in them, tacked onto the side. Well, this is that in an extreme, to say the least. These are chunky ears. Look at the size of it. They're nearly as big as my finger, and they're nearly an inch across the top here. They're really chunky, and I don't know, I'm no expert on foundry work, but that looks to me like it's been cast that way. The whole pot was poured, ears and all, in one cast. So there's been nothing attached separately by hand. And if you look under the legs, now the 15-inch Furphy's genuine legs were pretty woeful. In actual fact, they have no real purpose. They're that small. Well, these ones are even smaller. The little round pegs here, they call legs. Absolutely good for nothing. So anyway, they're there anyway, whether you like them or not. But this little oven here, I reckon this thing would have to be like 7 or 8 kilos on its own, just the base. And there's another 4 or 5 over here, I guess. I don't know, I could be wrong, but it's a chunky thing. You pick it up and go, wow. I think years ago I did weigh it, and I'm pretty sure I weighed it against, I think it was by 13-inch Harding. This is only a 10-inch oven. And I think it outweighed the 13-inch Harding. So it's a chunk, and they're a fairly chunky oven, those 13-inch Hardings. So yeah, it's got some serious weight. It's not something you're going to throw in the caravan and take with you camping, I don't think. Value wise, what are people paying for them? Well, they're not fetching anywhere near the genuine ones, because most people realise I think some people buy them out of desperation. They go, well, at least it's a Furphy. I've had it said to me, actually, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it was made. It's got Furphy on the lid, so therefore it is a Furphy camp oven. And there's no denying that. It was sold by Furphy, so it's a Furphy camp oven. It just wasn't made here in Australia, and it wasn't made at the Furphy foundry. No one complains about the Billman's Furphys, by the way. Not many people probably can tell the difference. There are ways of telling. But the Billman's made Furphy camp ovens are actually very good quality. They're probably better than the originals. So think yourself lucky if you got one of those. I haven't got one of those actually, but I've got a friend, I think, who has one, or he might even have a couple. I'll go and see him and borrow them, and we'll run through the differences of the Billman made Furphys and the originals, and we'll have a good look at see what the difference is. So we all know then. Anyway, I just thought I'd touch on that. The Chinese Furphy, here it is. What's it worth? A 10-inch? They're still getting reasonable money. I think $300 is probably a fair price for it. Possibly a little bit more, you know, if it was a bigger oven. Yeah, $400 for the bigger sizes, but I'd struggle to value it any higher than that. I don't think I'd have any problem getting that either, by the way, $300. People will buy it for one reason or another, whether to use it or whether to just put it in their collection. People will buy it. There's no question about that. But anyway, there it is, Chinese Furphy. You make up your own mind. At least you know what it looks like now.